Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Get Off the Island. I am with Reverend Jerry Troyer of the
Joyful Living Church
in Claremont, and we are here to talk about his recently self-published book, Coming Out to Ourselves. A new, easy read to help you guide yourself through your internal coming out process and what that means to you as an individual. What was the impetus for this book?
It was a combination of things, starting with a beloved family member's journey through substance abuse. Mm-hmm. And during that process, my remembering what I went through in coming out to the world, but also recognizing the shame and guilt and regret that I carried with me as a result of my sexual orientation and other situations in my life.
How long ago did you come out?
32 years.
32 years ago. So our age range is not all that different. I'm much younger. But
that's what you say.
in that coming out process, for people of our age range, there was a coming out process and there's a coming out story. And we have a beginning, I have a beginning and an end to my coming out story, how I presented myself to the world. Mm-hmm. But you are right in coming out to ourselves. Before I did that, I had to identify myself as a gay man. This book that you've written helps individuals with that internal identification process. This isn't coming out under fire. This isn't coming out to mom and dad. This is how you start to love yourself. And is this book only good for, you said this book, the impetus was drug addiction. If I've got to come to that I've got an addiction, drugs, food, money, is this a good book for that as well?
Absolutely. And keeping in mind that the LGBT community does not have a corner on the market related to what we're talking about. So maybe you're straight and you were adopted. Mm-hmm. And you've carried with you a belief that your birth parents didn't love you and they threw you away, and so that's why you wound up with your adopted parents. What if you change the story to that your birth parents loved you so much, recognized that they couldn't take care of you the way that you deserve to be taken care of, and that's why they gave you to another family.
So this is pro-peace.
It's pro-peace because it's always our story. Mm. It's always our story, and that's a big part of the book, is looking at what we really believe and feel about ourselves, our sexual orientation, guilt about a divorce, guilt about losing a job, just whatever it is. What do we really believe about that? And if the story we tell ourselves, because we're always talking to ourselves, and we're also making choices based on what we believe about ourselves, if it doesn't make sense for us anymore, if it's not true for us anymore, we change the story we tell ourselves.
You're a gay man who mm-hmm. has a ministry in Claremont, is mm-hmm. that correct?
Claremont Mesa.
A lot of times the guilt and the self-dislike and the problems we have mechanically working through this come at us from a religious perspective, or they come at us from a family perspective. How do I reset my spirituality if I want to have a relationship with God, or I want to have a relationship with the higher being, or the grand lesbian, whomever that is, but I've been told the entire time that this person, that God loathes me? Mm-hmm. Isn't that a really tough chore?
It's huge. And even if you've never set foot in a church before, there is that I like to call the collective consciousness about original sin. That somehow as soon as a baby is born, they are sinful, and so you go through life trying to work your way back to God because he doesn't like you, really through no fault of your own, but then if you turn out to be gay, it makes it even worse. So what we get to do is look at those areas in our lives and what we believe. Why do we believe about original sin? Why do we believe that being LGBT is sinful? Because somebody told us that. But what if we went back to see if it's really the truth for us? If you open the Bible and read the entire book or even the entire chapter and look more at a historical perspective in the Old Testament rather than just taking that one line out of Leviticus and trying to prove something with it. If you look at the whole chapter and the historical significance, you get a completely different view of things.
Well, no, I've said that. I've said that the Bible is a large text that you can make it say anything. Our Constitution is a large text you can make that say anything. But there are clearly things that say, I'm not welcome. How do I overcome the things that are, and then simply embrace the you're welcome thing? How do I get past that point?
We have to welcome ourselves. We have to look at what we believe about ourselves, and also look at how what we believe about ourselves influences how we treat ourselves. The choices we make surrounding substance abuse, the choices we make, am I going to go out and buy that new pair of shoes, or am I going to save the money for the rent, which I committed to do? Am I going to stay in this relationship that doesn't serve me and hasn't in a really long time, or am I going to say, I deserve better than this?
We sometimes spend time in bad relationships, and we spend time in bad relationships because we don't love ourselves.
Right.
So we find someone else to love us, whatever that looks like,
and believe that's the best we can get because we don't love ourselves, and so we stay there and hang on for dear life even though it's abusive and hurtful.
All right, Reverend Jerry Troyer, it has been absolutely fantastic to talk to you today. I really appreciate you taking your time for our little TV show here.
Thank you.
Don't forget to go out, get the book. It's an easy read. You can do this in 6-7 months. It's a little shorter than War and Peace. I appreciate you taking the time to sit here with us on Get Off the Island, and I'm Will Raupp. Thank you, and good day.
Bum 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 bum. I feel free. Bum bum bum.